Much for joining us today. We are so excited to have United Way with us and SoCalGas Company, and partnering with the Corona Chamber of Commerce to put on this webinar for landlords and tenants and the rental assistance that is available for them. It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Kimberly Starrs with the United Way. She is their Vice President of External Affairs for the Inland SoCal United Way, and she has served in various fundraising and programmatic roles in the United Way system for more than 15 years. Her team has raised more than $140 million for COVID relief in the past 12 months and has secured funding for multiple safety net programs to support residents in need during the pandemic. She serves on the board of directors for the Inland Empire chapter of the Association of Fundraising Professionals as their chair-elect. Lucky them. Her driving passion is the belief that all life has equal value and to ensure that her children and all children will be able to thrive. Please welcome Kimberly.
Hi, thanks so much for that introduction, and thanks for having me here with you today. Really happy to have two of my colleagues on the call, Maggie and Syra, as well as our friends from SoCalGas. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and get started. Here we go. All right. So we are going to be talking a little bit about our United Lift program, which is the emergency rental assistance program for the County of Riverside. This program provided by the County of Riverside is funded by the U.S. Department of Treasury and then administered by the Riverside County Board of Supervisors, and is a partnership with the Riverside County Board of Supervisors, Inland SoCal United Way, and Lift to Rise. This program has been in existence for about a year. We started funding in June of 2020, which feels like a million years ago at this point. But we're so happy to be able to continue and to offer this assistance to residents in need and to continue this program. And we're so grateful to the Board of Supervisors for having the foresight and the vision to know very early on in the pandemic that residents would be in need and would be in significant need. So we're grateful for this partnership, and we're grateful to be here talking about this with all of you today. And please feel free to stop me to ask questions, or if you need clarifications or whatever it is you'd like to do. I'm happy to stop and take questions. I'm hoping this will be a little bit like a conversation with the folks that are on the call. So what assistance is available? Right now in Riverside County, eligible households can receive up to 12 months of assistance for past due rent. This is for past due rent that's been accrued from March 13th, 2020 forward. If they had received assistance in the past for a specific few months under a previous iteration of this program, they are not eligible to receive assistance for those months, but for other months if they are eligible within that time frame. So that's a little confusing, but we've got wonderful program coordinators who are able to help make that distinction possible for folks and to answer those questions. Additionally, in this new iteration of the program that's been available since March of 2021, utility assistance is also included. So if there's past due utility bills, folks are able to make that application in addition to rental assistance. The purpose of this program is to keep people safely housed, and we understand that utilities are a big part of that. So you had heard me mention earlier about two different nonprofits that are administering this program in partnership with the County of Riverside. Inland SoCal United Way is supporting Western Riverside County, and Lift to Rise is supporting Eastern Riverside County all the way to Blythe. So we did split the county in half because it is such a large county that the Board of Supervisors thought that that would be the best way to administer the program. But there's just one portal, one entry point, and the program is the same across the county. So that's really the only distinction. And for folks making that application, there really won't be a differential for them. So on top of having the program for the county, and then also Moreno Valley, the city of Moreno Valley has its own program, but that portal shares United Lift. The state of California has its own program, which is the Housing is Key program. So the key differentials between the two programs is that the county covers 100% of rental arrears, and the state's program only covers 80%. Now, we're talking about what is covered, but another key component that's not listed here is that the county program requires landlord participation, and the state's program has an option for folks that do not have cooperative landlords or who have landlords that are just unavailable. Payments to the county's program go directly to landlords. With the state, they can be made either to the landlord or directly to the tenants, but only at 25% of the value of that program. Now, as a disclaimer here, anybody can apply for the state's program if they reside in the county of Riverside. You don't have to go through the state or through the county's program. You're more than welcome to make that application through the state. But we are definitely encouraging folks to utilize the county's program because it is a more generous allocation. So how do people become eligible for this program? This is probably the biggest question we get, right? Who's eligible? There's a couple of key points. There are 4 points and eligibility points that people have to meet in order to receive this assistance. Number 1, you have to be a renter, right? This is a rental assistance program. This is not a mortgage assistance program. We're hoping and anticipating that that might be something that comes in the future, but for right now, this is only for renters. There has to be a demonstrable COVID impact. Now that could be something as simple as your hours being reduced during the pandemic or even a job loss. But we have to be able to show that there has been some sort of financial impact related to COVID. And our friends who are currently experiencing unemployment are at the highest tier of eligibility right now. Additionally, folks need to be at 80% of area median income or below in the county of Riverside. And we'll show you a chart here in just a few minutes of what that looks like. And then also the federal guidelines that are attached to this program really prioritize 50% of AMI, that's area median income, but we can go all the way up to 80, but 50% here is really our first priority, along with folks who are experiencing unemployment. So here's a fun little choose your own adventure guideline to see if you're eligible. And this is up on the portal, which is at unitedlift.org, and you can check it out for yourself. But I'm just going to kind of scroll past this just so you can see that there are tools to check your eligibility that are easy. And these are in both English and Spanish on the portal. So here's the chart I was talking about where you can check your eligibility. So there's one column that's for 80%, and then there's one column that's for 50%. So you just look at the number of households, number of people in your household, and we have to really be clear here that we're talking about income for every person in the household, not just for the applicant. So if you have 4 people in your household, 2 adults and 2 children, if both adults work, we need to look at qualifying both of those incomes under these thresholds. But your coordinators are going to be able to help you work through that and to make sure that you meet all of these qualifications. And if you aren't sure, maybe if you qualify or not, we're going to encourage you to put that application in and to talk to the coordinator to see. We'd rather that you put that application in and get told, gosh, you probably don't meet those income requirements, than for folks to miss an opportunity to receive the assistance. So documentation is definitely required with this program. Now, one thing that we will never ask for is immigration status. That is not a consideration for this program. So our friends that do not have documented legal status, it's not a consideration for this program. So what you do need is identification, your current signed lease agreement. And if you don't have that, our coordinators can help you arrange for that. So they really are there to help. Proof of your impact, that's what we talked about earlier, whether that's your bank statements or your pay stubs or your unemployment letter, whatever that is. We will need the proof of income. And then we're also going to need contact for landlords. And this is for tenants making this application, because there is a portion for landlords to fill out. Like I said earlier, this program for the county does require landlord participation. Now, here's this process from start to finish of what the application to funding looks like. And this is also on the portal. You can check this out at unitedlift.org, but you can check and see, you review your FAQs that are listed on the website, all the things that we've already talked about, get your documentation, fill that application out, and then you're going to be contacted by our coordinators team within about 3 days to tell you, what the next steps are. So I'm going to move this forward here. The way that this works is that once we have a completed application, we'll be able to fund directly to the landlord. The process takes about 14 days from completed application for landlords to receive funding, but I can't emphasize enough how important it is that we have a completed application, not just a started application, but a completed application. So all of that documentation that we talked about earlier. So how can landlords be helpful to their tenants in this process? Well, if your tenant owes you money from an unpaid rent from March 13th, 2020 forward, reach out to them. Let them know that the program exists. Point them to the portal at unitedlift.org. Let them know, hey, get that application started because there is help available. This will really be critical. Oh.
Time to get dressed.
Alexa, dismiss. Sorry, my electronic babysitter there jumped in. So talk to your tenants about the programs that are available, and Leah and Daisy are going to talk about some other programs that are available, but have that open communication with your tenants. Additionally, you're going to have to, as landlords, submit some documentation showing that, yes, this is a current lease. Yes, these are the people who occupy that residency. And we will need W-9s from each landlord. We will not be sending out 1099s. How else can you help? Well, host a pop-up event in your community. If you're a landlord that has 20 or more tenants who are behind in their rent, it would be really great if you would invite us out to have a pop-up event at your facility, and we can schedule appointments with your tenants that are behind, and even invite folks in that don't have, current appointments, but we can get them set up and get their application started right on site. And being that it's at home, it's a friendly environment, right? It's a familiar environment. And if there's additional documentation we need, you're right there in the office and we can get that from you. Volunteer at one of our pop-up events that we have. We always love seeing familiar faces. These are COVID compliant events. We have social distancing and cleaning and masking and gloving and disinfecting and all the great stuff. We would love to be able to have more of these events like this in the community. Send out flyers, use our social toolkit, follow us on social media, get the word out. Just spread the word as best you can to ensure that as many people who are eligible are able to take advantage of this program. So that is it. That is the program in a nutshell. And I think, this is the old contact site. We'll make sure that Syra's contact information is on here as well.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. That was a really great presentation. I did have a question when I was listening to you share with us about what United Way is doing with the United Lift program. Why would somebody choose to go through the state program versus the county one if the county program covers 100% of past due rent and a few months forward as well, versus the state, which requires only 80%?
That's a great question. I think the biggest reason that somebody would want to participate in the state program over the county's program is if they don't have landlord participation. So the state program does allow for direct payments to tenants at only 25% of the past due rent, which it's better than zero, right? But if you've got a landlord who maybe lives out of the country or is just completely non-responsive, the state's program is probably likely the best and only choice that you'll have for receiving that assistance, but it is a viable option for folks.
Thank you. Also, obviously this last year was unique, and you guys have really done a great job of being innovative and coming up with ways to help the community. Is this something that you see continuing for a certain length of time into the future, or any sort of ongoing assistance, or for people who are not affected by COVID but could also use some a leg up?
That's a great question, and it's certainly one that has been tossed around quite a bit. Like, what is going to happen with this program? So we are. We're standing ready to be able to offer assistance to folks in whatever form that it comes in, right? If there's continued funding that comes down with the different packages that are being, pressed through Congress, then obviously we stand ready to continue to be a partner to both counties, to Riverside and San Bernardino County as needed. But as far as post-COVID, what's going to happen, at United Way, our mission is to really unite people, ideas, and resources with our community to improve lives. And housing is certainly one of our key pillars. It's something that we've entered this space now, and I don't see us turning back. So we've gained invaluable experience over the past year and have really talented folks on staff that are really learning a lot about what the needs are in the community. And then when you partner that with the second largest 211 contact center in the state, I mean, the options are just unlimited of what we'll be able to do to assist people in our community when and how they need us.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Kimberly, and to your entire team for being on this call today and being here available to help the community, to answer questions, and to let us know what's available out there. Certainly appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Stephanie, and thanks to Nick and Syra and to everybody on team.